For our next bracha, we invite Cohen's students from Down Under.
Rabbi Adam Cohen, huge mazel tov. It's really fitting for me that you're a rabbi because you've always been someone that I've turned to for guidance. And I just wanted to thank you so much for the impact that you've had on me and my Jewish journey.
Having grown up in Sydney and lived there for so long, often people ask me how it is that you can still stay religious in such a difficult environment spiritually. And I think often the answer that pops into my head is because of you, Adam. Through 13 years of Jewish school, there is not a single person who comes close to the impact that you had on my Jewish education, on my spiritual growth, on my social growth, and really the impact that you had on me personally is something that I will take with me forever.
You're the one person who can tackle those difficult, unanswerable questions, still leaving us with the comfort that we have got the advice we needed.
You've honestly been the best role model that I could have ever asked for. You've been through my entire journey with me. Starting when I was at school, you were my modern counterpoint, and then coming on IST, and then I had the privilege of working with you at Mariah. And I was the one who brought you out for Counterpoint last year, which was the best thing that the next generation could ever have, having you and Gabriella with us. You've truly been an inspiration for me with everything. After my mum passed away, I always knew that you were there for me every second of the day.
I can give you a quick bracha that you should use this to continue to spread your light, to spread your energy, to impact thousands more people. I know how many thousands of people you have impacted directly and indirectly by the incredible effort, your incredible knowledge. You should continue to do that with much success, much bracha. I am so proud of you, Rabbi Adam, and sending lots and lots of love.
Adam Cohen. Adam, on behalf of YCT Rabbinical School and for the benefit of Klal Yisrael, we hereby confer upon you, Rabbi Adam Cohen, Harav Aharon Shavsi ben David Chaim Yaakov Verut Cohen, the authority to decide questions of Jewish law and practice. Yoreh Be'isur Veheter. We also declare that we have found you to be, by character and training, fit to serve as a rabbinic leader of a community, a Rav Umanhig B'Yisrael. May God be with you in all your endeavors. Mazel tov. That's yours? Yes, it's yours.
Rabbi Adam Cohen.
Just want to start by thanking those who are up late in London and up early in Australia on Zoom. In April 2022, as Rav Yonah mentioned, I traveled with him and my fellow YC student Aaron Waldowski to the Ukrainian border with Poland. There was a constant stream of refugees crossing the border who'd had their lives totally uprooted. It was mostly women, the men were at war, and they were carrying all of their most precious belongings, but also in most cases, small children at the same time. They'd been on foot for several days. They traveled an average of 25 miles, including a final 3-mile walk from the local train station. When they arrived, if you can imagine, they passed through a narrow path like this, and there were volunteers lining the path, providing medical care, SIM cards, cacao, which I now know means coffee in Ukrainian. And there was one volunteer who caught my eye. There was one girl who made sure that constantly, day and night, she stood by the border. She seemed desperate to make sure that she was the first face that these refugees encountered. So I asked her story. Her name was Anna. It turned out she had been a refugee a few weeks earlier. And instead of staying in Poland and seeking refuge, she decided to come back to help her fellow refugees. This was vital, because you've got to understand the rest of us volunteers, we were communicating with a positive tone of voice, Google Translate, a kind facial expression. She spoke their language. She got their culture. And that was massive, because two things happened simultaneously the moment they crossed the border from the Ukraine into Poland. One, they were now safe, but that was also the exact moment that they became strangers in a strange land. And yet there was one exception. One group of Ukrainians had somewhere to go, the Jews. A week later, I traveled to Israel, and I spent Seder night there, and it got me thinking about the story of the Exodus from Egypt in a whole new way. Because we talk about the 4 languages of redemption that Hashem uses, and they're all about freedom from Egypt. Hotzeti, hitzalti, ga'alti, lakachti. I'll bring you out. I'll save you. I'll redeem you. I'll take you. And yet, in the very next pasuk, it's not about freedom from Egypt. It's what Rabbi Sachs would call freedom to. They had somewhere to go. Veheveti, I will bring you to the land. We take it for granted that they were free, but freedom can come in many forms. And I believe that them having somewhere to go was just as much part of the miracle as them escaping Egypt in the first place. And yet, 2,000 years later, while I was witnessing the same thing, Jewish people having somewhere to go, there was one difference. Hashem had partners. Imagine if as the Jewish people traveled through the desert, instead of finding enemies at every turn, they had other Jews waiting to take them in. But that's what happened. It's an amazing thing. We saw it then, 2 years ago, and we've all seen it since October 7th. When Jews are in trouble, no one comes together quite like our people. Okay, it may be short term. Okay, we might go back to our own little communities, our own bubbles. We do separate, but it's still an amazing thing. The problem is that I don't really mean that. 4 years ago, this Joshua would have ended here. That would have been the message. And then I joined YCT, and I found a community of people where that was no longer good enough. The Jewish people could do better, they felt. They raised the bar higher for me. I couldn't go back to my amazing community anymore and just be in that. Because that amazing community, the modern Orthodox world, it's 3% of American Jews. And I couldn't ignore the other 97% any longer. We have to build bridges over our shared heritage. That's why I decided to join Lafell School in Westchester next year, a Jewish community school. That's why I bought into a mission that changed my outlook and changed my life in the process. And I thank every one of you for being a part of that.